If you've ever looked at a chord chart for a song you wanted to cover and felt unsure about how to play some of the chords you see, this video is for you. I'll give you the universal recipe that works for all major and minor chords, as well as diminished and augmented. So as you probably know, chords are the building blocks for most pop and rock songs. Now, technically, a chord is just multiple notes played at the same time. Often when people think about chords, more specifically, they're thinking about triads, which are those three-note chords, most often major or minor. And of course, major triads are those bright, sunny, happy-sounding chords, and minor triads are those sad, dark, stormy-sounding chords. I'll show you the formula for finding any triad quickly, so if you look up a chord chart for your favorite song and you see B major, F sharp minor, you don't have to look up how to play those chords or watch a YouTube tutorial on that song. You can just say, oh, B major, got it. F sharp minor, got it. And then you can add your own rhythms or whatever you want to do with it. I'll also give you some practice tips and exercises that I use to master chords. There's a link below to download a PDF cheat sheet with these chord recipes and exercises. Also, stay tuned because at the end of this video, I've got a big announcement. Let's do it. So basic anatomy of a triad, we've got a root, a third, and a fifth. From the root, 1, 2, 3 gives you the third, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gives you the fifth. Typically, you'll play that with your first, third, and fifth finger. But while counting things out the way I just did got us a C major chord, that's not a reliable way to find a major chord because you can make the same shape in different places, and depending on where it falls with the pattern of the black keys, you might get a major chord or a minor chord or even a diminished chord. We'll get to that later. Not to mention you might need a F sharp major or a B flat major or any chord that doesn't start on a white key. So we need a reliable formula, and I'll just give that to you now. The one thing that you do need to know is that the distance between one key and the very next key on the keyboard is called a half step. So often that's a white key to a black key or a black key to a white key, though sometimes in the case of B or E, it's a white key to a white key. On guitar, a half step is just one fret to the next fret. Half steps sound like Jaws. So the formula for a major chord is count up 4 half steps, then count up 3 half steps. Count up 4, count up 3. So in the case of that C major, we know we got C for the root. Then we're going to count up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That gives us our third. And then from there, we're going to count up 3. 1, 2, 3. Boom, there you go. C major chord. That's a beautiful sounding C major chord. Quick word of caution, it's easy at first to make the mistake of counting the note you're counting from. So not counting C, it's up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then crucially, not counting E, it's up 3 more. Let's try it for another. Let's say a chord chart says A, so A major. If there's no lowercase m, it means major. So we got A, then we're gonna count up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's our third, and then 1, 2, 3. Boom, A major chord. Now this one happens to have a black note in the middle. Doesn't matter, it still sounds like a major chord. It's not the shape that gives it its sound, it's the exact number of half steps in between those intervals. Let's try it on a less common one. How about E flat? There's our E flat, okay, count up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, count up 3. 1, 2, 3. E flat major. Now for minor chords, we're just gonna flip it. The formula for a minor triad, I know I keep using triad and chord interchangeably. We're talking about chords here, but we're specifically talking about triads. That formula, count up 3, count up 4. So in the case of the C, we've got the root, then we count up 3. 1, 2, 3. Then from there we count up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. C minor. Let's just stop and notice the difference between the C major triad and the C minor triad. The fifths are the same, so the root and the fifth stay the same. It's only the third that moves, and it's that third that determines the quality of the chord. A nice way to think about it is, to make a major chord minor, you take the third down a half step. To make a minor chord major, you take the third up a half step. So let's find F sharp minor. So here's our F sharp. To find a minor chord, we're going to count up 3, then count up 4. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. F sharp minor. To make a minor chord major, you take the third, the middle note, and move it up a half step. There's our F sharp major. One more useful way to think about it. For a major chord, the larger interval, in this case you can see there's 3 unique notes between the first and the third. is on the bottom. The smaller interval, only 2 notes between, is between the third and the fifth. And of course, when you move that third down, you are making that bottom one a smaller interval while making the top one a larger interval. I'm going to talk about just a couple other ideas, then I'm going to leave you with a few exercises so you can totally master all your triads. So there's a name for the 2-note interval that gets created when you count up 4 half steps. It's called a major third. As you could probably guess, when you only count up 3 half steps, you get a minor third. Knowing these names is really useful later on when we talk about 7th chords and beyond. So another way to think about a major triad, let's do G so C's not getting all the love. It's a major third on the bottom and a minor third on top. And a minor triad is a minor third on the bottom and a major third on top. Now there are a couple other types of triads. They don't get used nearly as often, but it's important to know them. One happens when you stack 2 minor thirds on top of each other. You get a diminished triad. Sounds like that. So the formula in the way we were stating it before would be you got your root, and then you count 3, and then you count 3 more. So count up 3, count up 3. To make a minor chord diminished, you just take the 5th down a half step. And while minor chords sound sad and dark, diminished chords sound tense. Finally, even less common than diminished chords is what happens when you stack 2 major thirds on top of each other. So we've got our major third here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. That's an augmented chord. To make a major chord augmented, you sharp the 5th. And augmented chords are kind of curious or intriguing. You'll often find them in like spy movies. So that's the formulas for the 4 different kinds of triads. But again, most of the time it's going to be major or minor. So I want to leave you with a couple ways to really master your major and minor triads. One great way to exercise this is just pick a letter name at random and then pick major or minor and see if you can build it. So B major. We've got our B for major, count up 4, then count up 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, then count up 3. 1, 2, 3. There's our B major. C sharp minor. Here's our C sharp. For minor, count up 3, then count up 4. So 1, 2, 3, and then count up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So quiz yourself on that. And then in the long run, you don't want to always be counting half steps. It's really awesome to understand that that's what is happening here, but eventually you want them automatic. One great way to do that is to practice them in batches of similar shapes. Let's take the major chords. There are 3 major chords that are all white keys. C, as we saw, also F and G. So take a minute and just do C, F, and G. You know, do it in different octaves. You could even kind of make up a song with it. I mean, that's so many songs. So many songs just use those 3 chords. Once that's starting to burn into your memory, you can do another batch of 3. There's 3 major chords that are white, black, white. A major's like that. Also D major and E major. Once you got that down, we've got another batch of 3 major chords that have the same shape. And those are black, white, black. So we've got A flat major, D flat major, and E flat major, all being the same shape yet again. Now that's 9. The final 3 are all oddballs. So once you have all those other similar ones under your belt, we've got F sharp major, all black keys, B flat major, black, white, white, and B major, white, black, black. And that's all the major triads you'll ever need to know because that's all the major triads that exist. For minor, we've also got 3 of them that are all white notes. We've got A minor, D minor, and E minor. We've also got 3 that are white, black, white. C minor, F minor, and G minor. We've got 3 that are black, white, black. C sharp minor, F sharp minor, and A flat minor, or G sharp minor. And finally, we've got our 3 oddballs. E flat minor, black, 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 B flat minor, black, black, white, and B minor, white, white, black. Another great way to practice these is just stepping up or down chromatically. So that means just moving in half steps. So you start with all the major chords. And you go all the way until you get back to C. And you can go back down if you want. Of course, you'll want to take it slow at first. You can make that C major and then just take each single note and just look. Okay, up a half step. Then the third, up a half step. Then the 5th, up a half step. You get your next one. So you're just moving in half steps, but the pattern of black and white kind of ends up changing. And if you get kind of confused or stuck, you can just use the formula. Count up 4, then count up 3. Then you can try it in your left hand. Eventually, you can get them together. And of course, you can do it with your minor chords as well. And if you can get through this exercise and start to do it with a little bit of speed, you've mastered these. And you'll never need to look up any major or minor triad again. If you enjoyed this video, I would love to show you the fast track to take your piano playing to the next level. I've spent the last year creating a new course called Piano Chord Breakthroughs. Piano Chord Breakthroughs is a 5-module online course that shows you, step by step, how to go from being able to sketch out a simple version of a song by playing the chords, to being able to easily expand it into an impressive sounding piano accompaniment. That Triad video you just watched, I originally shot it for Piano Chord Breakthroughs. Ultimately, it felt like more of a prerequisite for the course, so I decided to share it here for anyone who might enjoy it. But here's specifically what you're going to learn in the course. In Module 1, I'll cover the foundations of technique and rhythm so that you'll have the tools you need to succeed as you advance to the next levels. In Module 2, we'll work on two-handed arrangement strategies for both your left and your right hand, as well as some dynamics so that your playing will hit just right. In Module 3, you'll master inversions to give your playing more fluidity and color and help you break out of playing chords with the same old shapes. In Module 4, we'll practice arpeggios and different ways of breaking your chords apart to create awesome sounding rhythms and captivating patterns. In Module 5, you'll learn all of my favorite tricks for spicing up your arrangements and decorating your chords. We'll also talk improvising and how to synthesize everything you've learned to create piano chord accompaniment magic on the fly. By the time you're done with Piano Chord Breakthroughs, you'll be able to take any simple chord chart and transform it into an impressive sounding piano arrangement, so that anyone listening will assume you must have composed it note by note or used sheet music. If this sounds like something you might be interested in, I encourage you to check it out using the link below. Thanks for watching. See you soon.